Hi everyone, my name is Savannah Morton and I am currently a behavior analyst at Insert Company here. And today I'm going to be going over with you guys how to correctly implement functional analysis procedures. First and foremost, what we need to know with functional analysis procedures is what they are. So a functional analysis is essentially a procedure that intentionally sets up specific conditions to determine the function of a target behavior. If we understand the function of the behavior, then we can understand how to best serve the kiddo because we can implement the most effective behavior plans in order to increase or decrease, in this instance, the maladaptive behavior. And this is done through the arrangement of antecedents and consequences within the natural environment. And separate effects of each condition on the behavior can be directly measured and observed. And this next slide that I'm going to go over in this last bullet point here talks about some advantages of functional analysis. It essentially helps behavior analysts best serve the kiddos because it creates the most likely effective plan for decreasing a maladaptive behavior. And it clearly demonstrates the variables that are influencing the occurrence of a target behavior through that direct observation as stated. And functional behavior assessments are very formal, and oftentimes FAs are a part of that behavior assessment. There are 5 conditions of functional analysis that we'll be going over today. Number 1 is play, which is our control condition, 2, attention, 3, alone, 4, escape, and 5, tangible. So within our control condition, the frequency of our target behavior is expected to be relatively low, and that's because in the antecedent, preferred items and activities are freely available for the client, no demands are placed, and attention is provided when needed or asked for. And the consequence if the behavior does occur in this condition is that the behavior is simply ignored or neutrally redirected. In the attention condition, we're attempting to determine if attention is the function of that behavior. And so the antecedent to that behavior is simply we are withholding attention from the client. And then if the behavior does occur, the consequence is that attention is provided through mild reprimands or neutral statements, just like, please don't do that, that's not safe, that's not nice, something like that. And that's attempting to see if the function is attention. Next, we have the alone condition, which is basically like our sensory function, and that's because very little environmental stimuli is present. This includes therapists, task materials, reinforcing items, activities, all of that. We want to keep that space as minimal as possible, so that will be our antecedent, a pretty empty space. And then if the behavior occurs, then we can kind of infer that some sort of sensory or automatic reinforcement is why the behavior is happening. And the consequence is that in that scenario, the maladaptive behavior is ignored or redirected. Next, we have escape, attempting to see if escape from a demand or escape from a task is the function of the behavior. So during the antecedent, we place the demand using a 3-step prompting procedure. In this example, I used number 1, told the kiddo, touch the red ball. Number 2, you model what that looks like, touch the red ball, and you touch it. And then number 3, you provide hand-over-hand prompting, grab the kiddo's hand, touch red ball, good job. And if at any point they engage in the target behavior during this, then the client is given a break from the task immediately. And that's to see if the kiddo is attempting to escape from the demand, and that's why the behavior is occurring. And then lastly, we have tangible. In the tangible condition, we're attempting to see if access to a tangible item is the reason that the behavior is occurring. And so when the client is playing with a highly preferred item or activity, the therapist would simply come up and say, okay, it's my turn, and remove the item from the kiddo. And during that instance, if the behavior occurs, the consequence is that the item or activity is returned to the client immediately. And that's to see if the behavior stops, because if the behavior stops, then that means that the function of that behavior was likely access to a tangible. So those were our 5 conditions of a functional analysis, and I hope that this presentation gave you a better understanding on how to correctly implement FAs as an RBT. Thank you guys.